see? Whatever you find, you must keep. We cannot fear what lies beneath. Look within yourself. What do you see?
Welcome back to the OBL. My name is Michael Hingers-Hing, and I'm joined here at the Analyst desk by Zach Rusty Pie and Nathan Mendrix Mendez. We just saw Legacy just dominate in that first game versus Abyss. Let's get straight to it. What should Abyss be doing in this second game to get back into this?
I mean, the first thing that we can take away from the entirety of the drafting phase is I'm not sure why they banned Ivern.
Yeah.
I don't think Carbon's really a priority target in the banning phase, and especially after the performance from the bottom lane, I would say they changed their focus, changed their targets to be that direction.
So what bans do you want to see from Abyss in this rotation?
They could stretch out and ban a Jhin if they have one spare, because that's all we've seen from Lost. They could go towards the Zyra. I 100% believe Misfortune, Zyra, and all of these carry supports should be focused away from Cupcake, who has been playing out of his mind.
And Mendrix, from the pick side, what do you want to see Abyss be picking in this going into this game too?
They definitely get a tank. It sort of was one of those cases where you could see it clearly when they did manage to pick up the Baron. If they actually had a tank to soak up the initial Jhin shots that were being fired out in that bot lane, they would have been able to continue to go hard, actually take that inhibitor and actually force a decent trade there instead of losing in the end.
I think this comes back fundamentally as well to how you play Legacy against Abyss. We look at Legacy, and we already said this, 5 strong individual players making one team, but you look at Abyss, and they're meant to be a strong team, not just 5 individual players. So picking all carries leaves you open to the risk of being led into Legacy's game. Pick a tank, play a standard game of League of Legends, and trust in Seb and trust in Frey to do their job.
I mean, we kind of were talking before going into this game that Frey was the win condition for Abyss, and if Legacy could shut down Frey, that was how they were going to win. But they didn't really need to shut down Frey in that game because they were able to win through bot lane, yeah?
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, Frey was strong, but it hit about 10 minutes in the game. Frey wasn't solo carrying. He wasn't moving around the map with Seb as effectively as they could have, and Legacy just kind of ran away through the bottom.
Yeah, all right, so going into this, we've talked about picks and bans. What about in terms of their attitude? Do you want to see more of an aggressive playstyle from Abyss? Because there were times there in that bot lane when they were about to get in, when they were taking that bottom inhib and turret, where they should have maybe they could have gone harder on that.
I want to see it. Because they act like I want to see it. And the reason why I want to see it is because they were winning the initial laning phase. They had the gold, they had the resources. If they were to actually make something happen, that would have easily shut Legacy down, actually meant they could get some more influence towards that bot lane and stop them from carrying through there.
Yeah, I think it's as simple as just picking something like Ashe on Raid, giving him a confidence champion. I think his Ashe arrows were good. If they were not hitting, they were still the right decision. So it'll help them be more proactive with champions that can complement it, opposed to like a disengaged comp from game 1.
All right, well, before we get into game 2, let's just get some last thoughts from you, Mendrix. Is this going to be a Legacy victory? We're going to see a 2-0 here?
They've got the momentum, so I definitely see them picking that up from there. And it's one of those cases where Abyss, again, they need time to grow. They need time to ramp up. Legacy, they've already got everything, the infrastructure, the players in place. They've got the experience to get them to get these wins now. It's going to be a little bit more of a testing ground for Abyss.
And Rusty, do you think Abyss can get back into this, or it's going to be a...
I think they're going to smack him. Yeah.
All right, well, on that note, let us exit from the analyst desk and throw it over to you casters. It's Fish and Spawn.
Thank you very much, Hing. As we heard from the desk there, Rusty thinks that people are going to get smacked in this game. Spawn, what do you think?
Yeah, I just think that Abyss really need to look at their draft, because when you're playing it against such long range, I mean, when you're playing against, the continual cocoon spam, the root spam, if you can't get onto the back line, there's just no way you can set up. And you saw that how big Lost got with that long range, ultimate. As soon as they got one pick, they were just able to shove through. So I really do think that, Abyss picked themselves into a corner there. If they didn't keep snowballing, the game was going to be hard. And we saw that when they didn't keep snowballing, the game got really hard.
Yeah, it really did seem like that. So Abyss, they're going to drop game 1 against Legacy. Let's see if during picks and bans, they're going to change anything up. One thing that the desk wanted to see was Ivan to not be banned away from Carbon, but it seems like Abyss is going to ban that out straight away.
Yeah, and they just don't want to play against a controlled tempo style that Carbon can bring with that. I don't necessarily agree. I think there's more weapons, but the targeting of the bottom lane, especially if this is a Zyra ban, I can definitely get behind, because I think that if it's a standard, non-volatile map, Abyss have a better chance at being able to keep pace.
And this is the first time we haven't seen Camille being banned out straight away in the FPL. Probably going to be the final ban for Legacy, but on the side of Abyss, they've completed all 3 of their bans. Malzahar and Jace are going to hit the bench. Finally, Camille gets taken away by Legacy, along with the Rengar as well as the LeBlanc.
Yeah, and all of a sudden, I mean, Zyra is back available. That was first picked on the side of Legacy, and it's going to be Abyss taking it this time.
Now this time around, Misfortune is not being banned away. We'll have to see if Legacy are going to try and take that away to get the small counter in that bottom lane.
It's still a volatile matchup. I mean, when you look at it, if you ever get hit by a root from the Zyra, you still die in the lane matchup, especially if you partner it with something like an Ashe. At the same time, however, because of Misfortune's range, she can really start harassing that Zyra out. She's nice and squishy herself, and I expect Cupcake to take the skill matchup.
And that's going to be the first pick coming out from Legacy here, taking Misfortune nice and early, making sure Cupcake's able to use that one against Kudin, who didn't have a great game of Malzahar last time around.
Yeah, it certainly didn't. I mean, he was picked on. They continually blew his flash and made sure that they had the aggressive invades on them. They shadowed it really well with Carbon, making sure there was no counter initiation available. And I love the fact that they've finally swapped up the Lost champion pool. They're going to be locking in Ashe. That means that they can just set up the damage that comes out of Misfortune all that much more safely. And it doesn't really leave a big counter pick here to take into that bottom lane.
And to fit in with the theme for today, we're going to see Eddie Carrion support being picked up first with a jungler for the blue side of Summoner's Rift. Seb's going to be taking Kha'Zix into the jungle again. Raid will be picking up the Jhin with the Zyra. This is what we saw Legacy use last time around. Wouldn't be too surprised if Legacy decide to lock in their jungler here.
Yeah, I'm expecting a Rek'Sai and Elise. I mean, they're both champions Carbon's really comfortable on. They bring in the initiation that they're looking for, although that's very aggressive.
Yep, instead they decide, let's go mid lane, boys, and Claire's going to be picking up Syndra against Frey.
And yeah, they weren't happy with last game. I mean, Claire did get kind of, solo killed a couple of times, and Frey looked pretty good. So looking to pick up a priority mid laner right now, and we'll see whether they now turn their attention towards Frey and start banning him out. There
we go. Rise being banned out here by Legacy. And we haven't seen too much Rise in the OPI. It's been left through picks and bans so far today. It's the first ban that we see for it.
We'll see if we get Frey Katarina. It's something I've been waiting for. We know he plays it in solo queue. Katarina with a Hex Drinker can go toe-to-toe with Syndra. It's not the best matchup, but you can get through it. And worldwide, we've seen a little bit of Katarina play out of Faker.
Instead, we're going to see Echo being banned out first here. So 2 mid lane bans already from Legacy. Elise was the first ban from Abyss.
They haven't banned out the Nasus this time around. Not last pick top lane. They said that's why they went towards it. We're expecting jungle to be picked up right now, I would assume, and giving the last pick towards Tally, as Legacy is wont to do.
Yep. Cannon's going to be the final ban coming out from Abyss. They don't want Tally to pick up that champion again, which means they still have to pick top lane. as well as their jungler, and wouldn't be too surprised if Lost is going to be picking up the jungler for this team here.
Yeah, and that's the right thing to do right now. I mean, they have so much pick potential coming out of Legacy already with this composition. Why not just round it out with a nice 1-4? Give Tally the counter pick. Lock in Carbon's jungle.
Yep, Lee Sin's going to be picked up here for Legacy. Carbon will be taking the Blind Monk into the jungle as Abyss hover the Nasus. Lots of laughs coming out from Raid here.
I mean, there really isn't that many carry threats left unless they go with Fiora. So, I mean, why not throw the dice? They're not going to, but I would encourage Abyss to play whatever they're most comfortable on.
And instead they pick up Poppy. Pac-Man will be taking a tank into that top lane. That gives their mid lane pick for last. They know that Claire is going to be taking the Syndra, so they give Frey the Corki.
Yeah, I mean, Exhaust Corki can go Hex Shrinker first as well. It's a safe pick against Syndra. They haven't really blown me away with any of their picks right now. I mean, it's a pretty standard comp out of Abyss, much more front to back, however, with, the fact that you're going to have Pac-Man up in the front. You've got some good poke damage that comes out. You can see Carbon, he's not all that impressed either. Gives you a big yawn on camera.
Still waiting to see what Legacy's final pick is going to be. Tally's going to be getting his Gangplank up into the top lane again to go up against Pac-Man's Poppy.
Yeah, and last time this happened against Ivan, I mean, he didn't have the best performance. However, he is a very good Gangplank player. Tally, I feel like Legacy, they're just pushing their limits right now. They've got some good initiation. Ashe Gangplank's always been a great global comp to run. Excited to see whether they're going to be able to dominate laning phase, however.
Last time our Tally was against the Hitman himself, Series, who's already taken down 2 OPL top laners in his debut as a rookie. Trying to see if Tally this time round is going to be a little bit more comfortable against the Pac-Man, who he's faced off against a few times.
Yeah, I've actually seen these two play this exact matchup in solo queue many a time. So it'll be interesting to see how Pac-Man goes on stage. He should be incredibly comfortable. I mean, range auto attack out of Poppy can take out barrels as well. You can live through a lot of it. The armor penetration's nice for Gangplank, and he should be able to farm safely, but if they ever bring Sev up into that lane, I mean, early on, the 2v2 should be in favor of Abyss. So one more time, a volatile top side of the map for the Legacy lineup.
And this time around, Abyss, they're going to have that frontline threat of the Poppy, so they'll have a tank going into their lineup, which they definitely lacked last game when Pac-Man decided to pick up Jace.
Yeah, 100%. It just meant that they couldn't force the immobile carry out of his ultimate at any stage. So, there's not that luxury of setup this time for the Legacy lineup. They are easier to rush down, and they're still running a tankless lineup. I mean, Lee Sin isn't your hysterical pure tank. He only has one form of crowd control, much more known for his pick around Summoner's Rift. So we expect them to, play that pick style, make sure that they can get Tally into a side lane, farming up, getting that bank set in for the GP.
And last game, we really saw Legacy were using the bottom side of the map quite effectively. It was Lost and Cupcake over and over again who were picking up pick after pick for Legacy, but Abyss were looking more towards the top side of the map where they had a slight favor and a slight advantage.
And it was kind of an old school, Chiefs or Legacy victory where they were outclassing their opponent and brute forcing. I mean, they repeatedly went towards that bottom lane over and over again. There wasn't much finesse about it. It was really a battering ram down there. As they got the advantage, I mean, they jockeyed for position with warding very, very nicely, as Legacy is want to do. However, they would want to clean this one up, close this one out a lot cleaner.
Well, we are on to Summoner's Rift, but for now, let's check in with Hingers, who's with one of the coaches.
Thanks, guys. I'm here with General, and I want to start by asking you about the jungle bans. I feel like you guys were prioritizing banning out Carbon.
Yeah, so we got the Kha'Zix picks, which we're super happy with. It's one of Seb's best champions, and the Elise pick is just because it's, in our opinion, the second best jungle matchup into Kha'Zix after, of course, the Rengar, but Rengar's a bit of an exception because he's very strong in this patch. So we just picked ban the Elise because it strengthens the pick of the Kha'Zix because Elise is probably the best matchup into Kha'Zix.
But you're also prioritizing banning Ivan out in 2 games now. Is that just because you think Carbon's a threat on that champion?
Yeah, it enables the way that Legacy like to play. In my opinion, Legacy like to pick 3 strong lanes and have Carbon picking a control-orientated jungle. So Ivan really assists with that because he just goes into the enemy jungle, places lots of wards, denies jungle camps, and just makes the enemy jungler not able to gank his pushing lanes. So yeah, Ivan bans to stop that play.
And you weren't thinking to ban out AD carries in that after the first game?
No, I think ADCs are mostly just as the big 3, Ashe, Jhin, and Varus, and they all sort of do more or less the same thing. Obviously, Lost had a very, very strong game along with Cupcake, but I feel that's just because Lost played very well, not more of the champions. So throwing bans into the ADCs just wouldn't really do much for us.
Yeah, excellent. All right, well, thank you for taking the time to chat to us. Best of luck in the game, and I'll throw it back to you guys.
Well, there you have it. General defending the rationale behind banning out the junglers and trying to ban out Carbon there, and also having a lot of respect towards Lost and Cupcake in that bottom lane, saying they had a great game, which they definitely did.
I mean, there's no point beating around the bush. They had a fantastic performance on Summoner's Rift. And, you know, Lost. General's just a smart dude. I mean, he understands the style of play that Legacy wants to go towards, doesn't want to give them that control. And he said it best, when they play with 3 pushing lanes, giving Ivan just means that you're going to suffocate your jungler, and if you're playing a carry jungler like the Kazakhs, it's not going to go well for you. So his rationale is sound, and as I said last week, I mean, he's one of the smartest young men that is around in the scene, and happy to see that he's speaking well on camera and getting his brand out there.
Seb has always been a star player for Abyss for quite some time now. We saw him pick up First Blood onto Carbon last game on this Kazakhs. So no surprise that they're prioritizing the champion pick for him going into the second match. A lot of things have changed here. They have a tank in the front lane. They've taken away Legacy's bottom lane of choice, which is going to be that Zyra as well as Jhin. Frey's now up against Claire in that mid lane again. Corki going up against Syndra. You can already see Frey using his health potion nice and early. Claire this time round is the one with that extra pot to boot thanks to the Brian's Ring.
Yeah, and you know, this is going to be, one more time, a really volatile matchup, because if you're able to get up against tanks, you can really beat them to item breakpoints and start taking over the map. However, at the same time, you know, if Pac-Man ever gets rolling, he's going to be incredibly frustrating to deal with in the side lane in the team fight.
So check in with the mid lane. Claire doing a lot better this time round. Constantly pushing Frey backwards, getting a lot of poke damage on towards this Corki. Carbon has been spotted out in the jungle here. Will be taking the, will be said that takes the Scuttlecrow away, but up in the top lane, Pac-Man not having the best of times against this Gangplank.
I mean, it is pretty annoying just getting shot over and over again with the parlay. Pac-Man's got a couple of pots running, so he's a little bit healthier than you would otherwise suspect. But as long as, you know, Tally able to get towards a first item Sheen, going to be incredibly happy up there in the top lane with how the early game has rolled.
Both top laners do have teleport as well. Only real big change in summoners is the cleanse being picked up by Claire in the mid lane. Frey's taken exhaust, and we have an ignite included.
Another trick I like to play with the mid laners, as I'm just, you know, sitting at home watching a lot of solo queue, is watching which mid laners take Biscuit and which mid laners take what I assume is going to be the buff duration. You can see that Claire right now, he's got buff duration because he's not got the Biscuit on his potion. Swift is another big proponent of that, whereas most other mid laners, to my knowledge, take the Biscuit for themselves. So not the immediate mana relief as well as the immediate health that you get out of Biscuit. It's just one of those things that, you know, the quirks of different players, fish that you get to see as they play more and more games. I wonder if it's a Syndra specific thing that he wants to be able to hold on to that, be able to shove the lane out consistently, or whether that's just an overall preference.
We'll have to see which other, you know, in the future, which other mid laners decide to go towards that route. Frey instead going for the Absorber Potion nice and early here. Wants to stay in this lane. And like you mentioned in Champion Select, he's going to be picking up that Hex Drinker, so we can go toe-to-toe against Syndra and survive the lane a little bit better.
Yeah, and that's just, I mean, that's kind of the overall response against Syndra, right? You want to be able to grab a Hex Drinker, you want to be able to, yeah, that hurt a lot. You want to be able to Folk on top of it, get the exhaust out nice and early and see if you can win the 1v1 sure. A little bit of an unfortunate bounce there out of Raid.
And speaking of Raid and Kuden, they've been sitting back and trying to farm wherever they can here. The poke coming out from Cupcake is a little bit too much for them to handle right now. Mid lane though, Frey and Claire going toe-to-toe. Good sidesteps coming out from Claire this time round. Constantly poking out Frey, forced him to use the Valkyrie to get away. Claire's going to flash in, throws down the ultimate. Flash being used in return by Frey.
Yeah, there was one sphere that just missed. You saw right there. He tried to get a cheeky Q in at the same time. Real nice flash there, but Claire putting on the pressure on Frey this time. We said had a disappointing game 1. Game 2 looking to heat up, and Legacy active early.
Yep, they get pressure in the mid lane. Lost and Cupcake have control over the bottom lane. This gives Carbon free reign to do what he wants. It seems like the Infernal Dragon is what they decide to take down first. Carbon takes it with ease. Next Dragon spawn is going to be a Mountain Drake, but Legacy already off to a good start.
Yeah, exactly right. They get the RNG on their side. They have a much better early game. You can see that they're already up 500 gold. No one's really died. It's just laning phase. And looking very comfortable right now. Good heads-up map play, being able to pick up an uncontested dragon. They knew that Frey had just been forced back. Although now Seb wants it on the top side of the map.
Yeah, he's got the wraparound on towards Tally, who is level 6. Pac-Man is fairly low. Tally wants it, puts the ultimate down to pick up first blood. Now Seb's trying to go toe-to-toe, but can he do it? He eats an orange, and Tally is K's. He gets the double kill.
Yeah, really nicely played out of Tally. You can see Pac-Man scratches his head. He said, why was there a barrel in there? But the prepped barrel comes out king. I mean, you see it right there in the brush. Tally baits towards it, able to get the reset. I mean, throws down the ult for the Thunderlord's proc. That's just beautiful GP play. And that's why you don't give him carry top lane champions generally.
This is why Tally's an absolute beast and a force to be reckoned with. A 2-on-1 outplay. Seb was just left wandering around Carbon's jungle after the Infernal Dragon was taken down. The top side of the map doing incredibly well for Legacy. Bottom side of the map have great control. Claire constantly pushing out. Legacy starting off a lot better in Game 2 here.
I mean, this is what you expect to see out of Legacy. And now, you know, not only is he 20 CS up, and that's parlayed CS most of it, he's got a couple of kills. He has to be up at least 1,000 gold. He's up 1,300 gold. There's only 3,500 gold to his name. So really, right now, Tally is a rich, rich man.
He's already got 2 components towards his Trinity Force completed. Once that's picked up, that gangplank is going to be a force to be reckoned with in the top lane. He already is. I mean, Pac-Man's not having a good time so far. That double kill is not going to help him out in any way, shape, or form.
I mean, it was just that they felt like they had to force a play somewhere. Bottom side, they'd already given away the Infernal Drake. The pushing lanes weren't there this time around. So, you know, they go towards top side. They try and get Pac-Man rolling, but Tally just had to play scoped. Pac-Man, unfortunately, had to run through creeps, and that's something that you don't want to do at this stage of the game. Those guys hurt.
That's forcing Pac-Man now to farm with the wave closer towards his turret. They're going to be spotting out Seb, who's making his way down towards the bottom side of the map. Claire is going to be following Carbon to make sure they can get the counter gank going if they run into any trouble. Carbon will take down the Scuttle Crab. Claire makes his way on down. Arrow's not going to connect coming out from Lost there as it narrowly whiffs towards Raid and Kuden.
Yeah, and that just means, you know, they pull out of the play. Now all of a sudden Kuden looking to go aggressive. Loses half his health for that, if you don't mind.
Hope coming out from Ash as well as Misfortune is a little bit devastating here. We can see Frey trying to cheat his way down towards the bottom lane in case anything happens. Seb had snuck his way into the second brush, but is being pinged out by Legacy, so we'll spot it out. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, you can see Carbon going in. It's going to be able to kick Frey back, or does he? As he uses the package and gets a kill on towards Claire. Frey, he's done it again. He's got the second solo kill against Claire.
Yeah, and that one was a 2v1, so that's really nicely played. I mean, you have to be careful at that stage of the game just because of the fact that the package's burn damage is no joke and still had the exhaust available. So, nicely played, but it's still a kill in the mid lane and a big CS loss coming across for Frey. He's going to lose out on, what, 6 creeps or wave?
Yeah, avoids the ultimate coming up from Carbon thanks to the package there. Frey's, he's been stepping up, Spawn. I mean, we've sung so many praises for this guy since his debut on the Abyss lineup.
Yeah, he's certainly having a field day. I mean, he's a really solid player. I just wonder if, you know, the mid game is going to be there right now for Abyss because they've already fallen so far behind, 2,300 gold, and the scaling definitely isn't there, so they need to get involved now.
Teleport coming into the bottom lane though. Spawn Cupcake's going to get a lockdown here. Tries to throw the ultimate back down to the Kuden. The ultimate will come out from the gangplank to pick up a return kill. Lost will be able to get out of there alive, and Pac-Man is just caught wandering across the river.
And this is the difference between the two squads. They didn't have to throw that much at Cupcake. In the end, they probably should have gone towards Lost with everyone but the Poppy, because the Poppy was behind the Misfortune, was definitely going to be able to pick that one up. At the same time, they don't burn anything in the bottom lane. They just let themselves die. Tally continues to push top lane with an extra kill, 30 CS, and potentially, you know, a turret going to be picked up right now.
He's got his Trinity Force Spawn. He's going to be speeding through the health of that turret in the top lane. Pac-Man's got his work cut out for him if he wants to defend this one. Just getting those little bit of Trinity Force procs there to try and take it down. We'll get knocked out of there. See you, mate, says Pac-Man, but that turret is still going to fall eventually. Tally has been out of control in this
Denies
match.
the local gold, though, so that's kind of important with the knockaway. Tally, though, is still pretty rich. I mean, yeah, he's still up a couple of thousand gold. Is now maybe Kuden in trouble.
Yeah, forced to use the ultimate nice and early. Kuden's going to try and walk away from the Syndra Spheres. It still gets locked down. Claire throws another one. The ultimate comes out, and Kuden is just stuck in the Raptor can. Has no idea where he belongs.
Yeah, exactly right. So you can just see how calm Claire is at this stage. And this is the worry when you give Legacy a lead. They're just so overwhelming as individual players. They get their map movements online, just continue to punish, continue to push in. And Abyss starting to fall critically far behind.
And they bring Cupcake immediately in towards the mid lane. Gets the hail of bullets down on towards Frey. Carbon's down here as well. Claire will continually poke towards this turret, which will take a ton of damage here. And Legacy will take down the second turret of this game.
Yeah, so just really nicely done. I mean, getting Cupcake out of that lane down bottom. They recognize that they've already got that one won. So looking forward to, just pressuring the rest of the map. I mean, Loss is completely fine. He's 20 CS up, even though he's at a kill disadvantage. So really nicely done out of Legacy again. And this is 12 minutes in a 5,000 gold lead. This is what we expect out of Legacy.
This is what we thought we'd see in game one, but it was actually Abyss that led that early game until about 20 minutes in that match. Legacy have control over towards the bottom side of the map, especially with taking down the mid lane outer turret. They've got their eyes set towards this Mountain Dragon. Lost and Cupcake will assist Carbon to take this down. Raid and Kuda nowhere to be found to try and defend against this major objective. Claire will do what he can. We'll help him out. Mountain as well as Infernal being picked up by Legacy.
Yeah, exactly right. Unfortunately, so far, Carbon's just been, dictating the pace of this game with early dragons, the ability to turret dive. Seb, unfortunately, hasn't been able to get it rolling. I mean, after a mishap in the top lane with Pac-Man, just fell a little bit too far behind. But as you can see, looking to potentially have something to do.
Arrow comes down, forces Kuden to flash away there. Not want to be caught out now. Legacy looking to try and take down the final outer turret of this game.
And once again, like a 1-0-0 scoreline isn't all that pretty, but when you have a look at how much Carbon's been able to do, as Seb,
Fancies his chances against Tally. Tally did not connect with that barrel, so smartly decides to back away.
drops the ultimate on top lane turret, scouts out the dive that may be coming.
Legacy might be able to continue pushing his spawn because Pac-Man Seb in the top lane. Frey was not really spotted out, but he was on the top side of the map as well. This should be a free turret for Legacy.
Yeah, it certainly looks to be that way. And Claire's just roaming around mid lane, looking to pick up, even more CS off that jungle camp. And this is a comprehensive shellacking so far. I mean, 7,000 gold at 14 minutes. Must be the largest gold lead at this stage of the season.
It just simply seems like Abyss have nowhere to go against Legacy. Carbon's going to be taking red buff away from those ball. Frey does have the package available, but just seems like there's nowhere for this Corki to go. Sitting on his Sheen. He's got the Hex Drinker available for himself, but still, Legacy just looks so strong. And this time around, it's the top side of the map that has really been shining for them.
Yeah, exactly right. I mean, their bottom lane's still doing fine. There was just one kill onto Cupcake after a teleport play was used. You can't really do all that much when you get teleported on, as a poor misfortune. But apart from that, you're right, top lane of the map, the top side of the map, definitely doing work at the moment for Legacy. Carbon's been so active this time around.
Frey has nowhere to go with that package, so he's just going to use it to get over towards the blue buff. Pick that up for himself. Desperately looking to see if he can defend against the push after push that's coming out from Legacy. Gangplank now has grouped up with his team. There are lots of pings going down towards the bottom side of the map. Abyss is going to have to be a little bit careful.
They're looking for a pick. They throw an arrow.
It's going to go out. Hits Raid square in the face. The arrow to the knee is going to come out. Karma's going to get right behind him. You've got nowhere to run, cowboy, because Lisa is here to kick you straight in the face. And that's going to be a pickup for Claire.
Yeah, really nicely done. I mean, they made sure they fired the arrow off a control ward. There was no way that Raid was going to be able to see that one coming. You just see how smart the jungler of Legacy is. I mean, that's a really nice setup. Pretty easy kill to be picked up there. Only uses his ultimate, so... Legacy look like they're firmly in control of this one. Maybe some hiccups for game one, but back to the drawing board. I mean, this is just good League of Legends, honestly. He's recalling on a ward. They're able to pick it up. I mean, he misses the E, but E's a... Actually, you know what? I'm going to call him out on that. I made enough fun of Spooks for missing Qs. Missing E's is inexcusable.
Oh my goodness. Carver makes the play. Still can play flag. It's Kuda just going to get deleted by Claire here. He'll pay for that with his life, as you can see in the meanwhile. It's going to be Misfortune raining bullets on towards Seb. As Lost going to pop the ultimate as well, trying to collapse on towards the rest of Abyss. The critical came out from Ray, looking to try and make the run back, but it's just a 1-for-1 trade.
Yeah, really nicely done. They dropped the ult on Seb as well, nearly pick him up. Has to flash away from it.
Yeah, flash.
All right.
He doesn't need it, Spawn. He's all right.
Playing the game on hard mode right now. Honestly, not much to say about that. A little bit of back and forth in the mid lane and 1-for-1.
A little bit of hiccups here for Legacy as they do lose Claire in that engage, but he's able to just destroy Kuden, who, again, has the most deaths in his team here, Spawn, not having a great time against his former team.
Yeah, it certainly isn't. And I mean, this is the problem with playing the majors. You have to really check your positioning. Kuden, a lot more, I guess, renowned for his defensive supports like Soraka, where he can very much just be a backliner for his team. And now that he's expected to put out some damage, you know, expected to start off some of the fights. Has struggled in the first couple of games here, but, you know, it's not that big of a deal. I mean, Legacy is always going to be a hard team to pick up a victory against. So if he's able to get any level of comfort on the pickups, should hold them in good stead for the rest of the season.
Ash Arrow's going to come out, lands on top of Seb. Carbon's going to get behind him. Safeguards towards Cupcake, who will be able to pick up the kill. Bullet time's going to be cancelled here as Tali's going to join the fight. Throws down the barrels, doesn't connect with anyone, takes a bit of damage in return. But Legacy, they get a pick for that.
Oh, so optimistic out of Talia there. I mean, he had the whole string of barrels going then. Not able to find anything. However, it will start the siege in the mid lane.
They're going to look to try and siege up against Abyss. Mid lane inner turret under siege as Legacy waiting for their top lane minion wave to push up there.
It's actually going to push against them. So top wave, if they're waiting for that one to hit the turret, it's going to be waiting a very long time
But
instead.
Kuda, no! Oh, that was nice and swift, though. Karma's going to be able to take him down.
I mean, that barrel did so much damage out of Tally. He is 2.5 items against what is maybe 1 on the side of Pac-Man. They're able to take down the turret with ease.
Right, here comes Pac-Man looking to lock down Tally. He doesn't have his oranges just yet, but he's still K. As Pac-Man's going to head backwards, Carbon's going to force him to retreat. Legacy get out of there alive and take a turret for it.
Yeah, and it's 10,000 gold now. You can see that Legacy, they don't necessarily have a big tank still, but they're willing to play the tempo game this time around because they know that as far as damage goes, they're just way too far ahead.
Pac-Man's got to be careful. He's going to take a lot of damage here. Carbon does not follow up with the Q, but it doesn't matter because Claire just throws down the Dark Spheres everywhere to get the kill.
Yeah, and I mean, you really don't need to follow that one up. That's just good understanding of Carbon, the fact that Claire's got that one covered. Having a much better game this time around, 4-2-1 on a big comfort pick in the Syndra. I mean, we talked about the fact that with the bottom lane performing so well, with the fear of Carbon's champion pool, that they're probably not going to be able to target Claire. And on his best champion, certainly showing us that he's still a mid laner to be reckoned with.
He's already gone back to base and picked up a Landry's Torment to go with the Morello Nomicon. Blasting one being picked up in addition to that. Across from him, Frey still struggling with his items here. Hex Drink as well as Trinity Force. Just the brown shoes to boot. Yes, they are now 10,000 gold behind Legacy 20 minutes into this match.
And this is one of those games as Abyss that you have to be like, refocus. What is our actual goal? What are we trying to get out of this game right now? What does our composition do? If it is a poke comp, see if you can, you know, get a lane pushed up, see if you can set up properly. You're probably still going to lose just because of raw power right now out of Legacy. But I feel like a couple of games in a row now, they've kind of lost sight of their draft a little bit and been made pay.
Legacy are definitely making them pay with the gold disadvantage right now. They already took down a few turrets here. Mid lane and bottom inner are gone. So 5 turrets to none for Legacy. They've got 2 Infernal Drakes and a Mountain Dragon picked up already. So stacking those up nice and easy so far.
Yeah, certainly have lucked out with the Drake selection right now. That's pretty much the ideal when you're running the damage threats, being able to grab double Infernal. I mean, Tally's the big benefactor of that. He's having the time of his life right now, going towards an Infinity Edge. He's bought the Sork boots as well.
He's ready. This is something you were talking about last week, Spawn.
Everyone thought I was a liar. I'm not a liar. He buys Sork boots on Gangplank more often than not, people. And for the ultimate, of course. Likes to be able to get that maximum damage out of the big cannonballs.
He's 3-0-1. Almost Flamed Horizon Pac-Man here. 90 CS up ahead of this Poppy.
Yeah, but once again, I feel like this is one of those games where Abyss, it's not really an individual at fault. They went for one bad gank in the top lane, and then the game just snowballed out of control from there.
Yep.
Legacy is just so strong as a unit that when you make a bad play, a bad call, and Legacy forced them into it, I mean. Teleport coming into the top lane. Let's hold that thought while Pac-Man tries to set up.
And you can see Yoma's being poked by Tally to get the heck out of there. The rest of Abyss looking like they want to try and pincer here. Tally's going to get the nice setup. Stun's even going to come out from Claire, looking to try and find someone chasing on towards Legacy. Tally, that didn't connect, but he still explodes. It doesn't get anything out of it as Pac-Man going to be able to sidestep the arrow coming out from Lost. Will get slowed down and shot here by Tally, but he's okay.
Yeah, it still took a little bit of damage. I mean, that's a good attempt out of Abyss, but once again, the whole combo wasn't there. They need to be able to open up with Raid and then, you know, get the teleport rolling through at the same time. So you can still see aspects of the composition coming together. But yeah, Carbon forced a lot of that play by taking an early Infernal Dragon. It felt like Abyss thought that they were being out-tempoed and needed to push the pace of the game. When really, when you're running a tank composition, you can afford to fall, you know, slightly behind.
Pac-Man's got to be careful though. There's so many members of Legacy here. He's going to get knocked back, but doesn't get
He
stunned
missed another
up.
E.
Forced to flash away, but still gets jumped on here by Carbon. He says, see you, mate. But Tally still goes on a rampage by being able to take him down. There's just bullets everywhere here, Spawn, as Cupcake is going to force Kuden to back away.
Yeah, and all of a sudden, you know, they've got complete control over this Baron pit. Carbon missed another E during that team fight. That's what I was yelling like a hooligan about. And you can see that they just don't want to face check right now. You can't go into Claire. You can't go into Tally at all. So they're going to instead have to be very careful with how they check for vision.
Very patient from Legacy, though. They've been sweeping this river so much, just making sure they buy time here against Abyss, force them to face check in an unfavorable situation.
Yeah,
Bottom
Abyss
lane's
shouldn't be
pushing
really
though.
all that worried. I mean, there's no tank on their lineup. Carbon's got a chain mail. I mean, they're going to have to really burn this one quickly if they're not going to take too much damage.
They're looking to try and start up the Baron buff here. It's down to half health. Tally trying to zone out the rest of Abyss. But here comes Seb looking to jump in. Make It Rain's going to come out from Misfortune. Carbon's incredibly low, but will still get the smite down. Tally now low as well. Seb already got one kill. The rest of Legacy's been locked up. Big ultimate coming out from Kuden. And now Rain's looking to try and clean this one up. Seb's in the backline, tries to jump, but he can't get it down. A double flash over the wall from the carries. But Tally, my goodness, the double kill's going to come out. Rain's going to try to go toe-to-toe. Can he get it? Yes, he can with the shutdown. And Abyss somehow come back into this game.
And this is what I said. I mean, that's a really risky Baron coming out of Legacy's lineup because they have no genuine tank. I mean, they do lose 4 members. They're going to lose a turret in the mid lane for it. They still have Carbon surviving, so I guess they have that for them. However, plays like that can come back and bite you in the end, Fish, and it bit them quite hard then.
It certainly did. Seb can't get the steal, but gets the hero kill on towards Claire before getting taken down by that Syndrome. We can take a look at that again.
And look, it's just Carbon. He's the only one in the pit. He's trying to do the damage. I mean, Claire gets flashed on and taken down. And from here, just a big Stranglethorns out of Kuden, gets 4 members, and Raid's able to clean up the back end. Another miscue, but Tally with the silencer, able to pick that one up. And just look how much damage he's doing at the moment. Maybe over-enthusiastic here, because he runs back in and gets destroyed. But you can understand his enthusiasm for gangplank at this stage of the game.
He's got his Infinity Edge with the Yoma's Ghostblade and Trinity Force. That's a big gangplank right now.
And they're still 10,000 gold up.
Yep.
I mean, they have the luxury of making probably 4 more bad plays before this game really does come back.
They lost the mid lane outer turret, but Legacy still have Baron on Carbon, so as long as he's around, the mini waves are still going to be pushing nicely. This time round, though, top lane is pushing in Legacy's favor. Dragon's going to be coming up now.
I mean, the only thing that really did was catch Raid back up to loss. Every other member is still so far ahead in gold. Tally's 5,000 gold ahead of Pac-Man at this stage of the game.
Arrow's going to come out, lands on top of Seb. Kuda's going to get locked down, and Cupcake gets the double kill with the bullet time. Pac-Man's going to fall next as well. Guardian Angel's being popped. Legacy going to be able to take him down. Loss is going to take that kill.
That was a big setup, and you can just see how much damage Carbon and the rest of his squad do right now. I mean, really nicely played. Looking for potentially a pick here.
Ooh. Can't curve the bullet.
Claire threatened, and you saw that straight away. Raid fired the last shot and ran very quickly.
And with that, Tally's able to take down the 3rd Infernal Dragon of the game. Now Legacy with the Baron buff from Carbon, looking to push in through the mid lane. Mid lane inhibitor turret is going to fall now onto the inhibitor. Legacy have broken the base of Abyss, but can't quite take the inhibitor just yet.
Yeah, so they're just going to back away. I mean, this is still smart play out of Legacy. They know they're ahead, but they don't want to force it too hard. Potential teleport play could have been there. They're pinging it out, actually, right now on the side of Abyss.
Rest of Legacy are going to head back to base and pick up a few more items for themselves. Essence Reaver into Hurricane has been picked up by Lost. Black Cleaver already complete by Cupcake, as well as the components for his Mortal Reminder.
Yeah, and Lost going with a Hex Drinker against only a Corki. That's a little bit interesting. I mean, not all that much magic damage on the side of Abyss right now, but the general idea behind the build I appreciate. As an Ashe, you don't really need big damage items. You need to stay alive. You need to be able to, continue to output damage. So too often do we see them go for an incredibly greedy build. I like the fact that, he understands that right now the Gangplank with 14,000 gold, like literally double that of the other top laner, is probably going to be the main damage source.
Legacy now moving towards the top side of Summoner's Rift. Looking to push back this wave that was set up by Abyss. Player's going to be on that pushing duty. Just chucks minions around. Gives them a headache. The rest of the team will be waiting inside of the jungle as they sweep out all the wards that were previously placed down by Abyss.
And you can see that they're still playing this one nice and calm. I mean, Claire checking the brushes with his abilities, making sure that they're not overextending. They've got Tally in the other lane, although now Lost being open up on.
Tentacle comes up, and Chanakusao not going to connect. Kuden flashes in aggressively. Pac-Man's in the back lines. That's a lot of damage coming out from Abyss. Seb's going to fall, though. Pac-Man's still looking to try and lock them down. Tally's only now going to join the fight as Raid and Frey try to run the heck away. Barrel's going to come out, does not connect. It's still a 3-for-1 trade.
Yeah, so out of nowhere, Kuden flashes forward looking for the engage, and that's the kind of desperation play they needed. Unfortunately, GA had been picked up for Carbon. Members still fell down because Claire is massive on the back end, and they're going to be able to continue to push in. That was the right call out of Abyss. It's good to see them making the proactive play, but unfortunately just not able to come up with the goods.
It almost looked like it was going to be successful for them as well. Kuden with a big play, Pac-Man with a great flank as well, but they only took down the support. Not the target you want to be picking off right at the start of the fight.
Seems to be the trend, though, when Legacy win, pretty one-sided affairs. Cupcake dies towards the end of it, so two for two. We'll take that one.
He's gone back to base and picked up the Mortal Reminder, so this one's just going to hurt quite a bit now with those two items being picked up.
Yeah, well and truly online. Definitely fair to say there, Fish. I like to see the Misfortunes. One of my favorite supports at the moment, actually.
The flip side, though, Kuden 07 at the moment.
I mean, but that was a good play out of Kuden.
It was.
I mean, flashing forward, you're going to die on that play 10 out of 10 times. But he flashed in, got the snare, got a 3-man ulti at the same time. I mean, that's the play that you need to make as a support. If your team doesn't have initiation and Pac-Man's always going to be flanking, I mean, someone has to get in there and do it. It's better than him than Raid.
Had a good Conical coming out from Raid as well. Was able to chunk down Lost. Extra guy actually survives in keeping him alive. Kuden's damage in that fight.
They're big crits, 1,260 damage.
It's a monster pirate. He's gone and picked up his Phantom Dancer as well. One item away from complete, just sitting on that pot there.
See whether they go back towards Baron here. I mean, they still don't have all that much armor picked up on the side of Legacy. There's still a lot of damage that comes out of the Abyss Esports lineup. I mean, Trinity Force nearly more picked up right now for Frey, as well as the Rapid Fire Cannon. They still do some damage, and I feel like if Carbon takes himself out of the fight, by tanking up Baron a little bit too long as he did last time, it's still a touch-and-go fight if they can get onto Claire.
Question is, can they get onto Claire, that back line? Right now, Abyss.
Look, I'm being optimistic. I'm just going to say it. Like, yes, I understand they're 14,000 gold up, and that this probably should be a free Baron right now, but I just like armor when I'm taking Baron.
Well, Tally's popped his pot, which means he means business now, Spawn, as they wait for Abyss to collapse. They've got no vision.
Pac-Man saw his life flash before his eyes.
Did not want to get taken down there. It's now Legacy looking to see if they can engage. Arrow comes out, whiffs, so does the stun, and there goes the package on top of Lost. He's been exhausted and deleted.
Three members gone.
Yep, Pac-Man's going to boot them away. Seb tries to jump in amongst it as well. The ultimate's going to come out from Tally, but they've already lost their AD carry.
And one more time, I mean, they're such a squishy comp that if anyone gets caught out and isolated, they died. And right there, they were able to cut off Carbon and Lost. They got the exhaust down, and the fourth bullet came through and cleaned him up. Meanwhile, Pac-Man just gave him the, see you later, and kicked three people out of the team fight.
Just like that, Abyss get a pick for themselves, but Legacy just going to wait for Lost to respawn before pushing on forward again. Ultimate from Lost did not connect, neither did the stun from Claire.
I mean, I don't care how much gold you have, Tally. If you don't hit anyone during the team fight, you still do no damage. So that was, the stars aligned. and they finally got a pretty okay team fight there for Abyss. I mean, this still didn't get them much. Got them a kill and a little bit of farm.
He's got 15,000 gold spawn. He is Legacy's
He's nearly
lead.
got 16,000 gold at the moment. He is 7,000 gold ahead of Pac-Man.
Who's sitting on a Sunfire Cape as well as a Guardian Angel. Not quite the items he needs to be that beefy frontline tank, but at least he'll be able to live twice.
I mean, honestly, the fact that, Lost hasn't got the Last Whisper, neither does Tally, he still tanks up fairly well against anyone but Claire. Claire's probably going to delete him very quickly. And you see that they've actually gone for this Baron play one more time, and this is risky.
Seb's been able to take down Lost, so this is a 4-on-5 if Legacy to try to go for it.
And Tally's got no health.
Yep.
I mean, if only they could see Tally's health right now, they would know that they can take this fight.
And they've gone back to base. The rest of Legacy are stuck now watching as their mid lane inner turret is going to fall. And Lost been caught out again.
I mean, the shortest way down the map is just straight up mid lane. Honestly, the turrets in the side lanes, they're there for aesthetic purposes only. Like, they do nothing. If you can just march it up mid and take down that Nexus, you still win the game, Fish. And against the flow completely, I have no idea how this is happening.
Well, Abyss are going to use their time wisely and take down a turret, like a pick, and also take down the mountain dragon that spawned here. 5th dragon of this game.
Back within 12,000 gold.
No, yeah, just a small margin.
I mean, they've started up Baron again. It does die very quickly.
And it's dead. I mean, they might not have armor, but they've got enough damage to do it this time around spawn. Lost is able to revive in time to pick it up for himself too. As Tally's now being able to pick up his last Whisper, the final item he needs.
I mean, I feel like there's some genuinely good scaling. I don't know how to say it. Like, if the game goes for another 10 minutes, I mean, the Poppy is just going to be right back into it. I mean, Tally's already got 6 items. He has no more slots. I mean, you can get an upgraded Last Whisper and maybe sell his boots. But really, Legacy need to look for that final pick, dive a turret and try and win this game.
And Lost seems to be a little bit scared of Seb now picking up the chain vest. Let's go with his 3 items already. Just wants to live spawn. He's tired of being picked off before everything happens. He's in the bottom lane. Pac-Man's been found. He's dead.
Yeah.
Like, that's Guardian Angel. Here comes Carbon. Got the timing wrong, but still gets the kill in the end.
That's all right. Still able to pick up the kill. That's exactly what they were looking for. I mean, with Baron buff, didn't have to expend anything. No flash, no ultimate. That means they can just drop the ulti on this turret, look to go for another engage.
Let's see if they do just that. Tally now gets a big barrel offer towards Raid. There's the ultimate coming down. He has to force the Curtain Call to stop. Tally has taken quite a bit of damage though from the poke that came out from Seb and Prey. Still looking to siege up the turrets here.
Great barrel out of Tally to be able to clip Raid on the back there. You saw it did 3/4 of his health. The ultimate looked to finish him off as now the arrow comes out.
Lands on towards Kuden. Bullet time's going to come out from Cupcake. Oh, single-handedly takes down the support from Abyss. Legacy now pushing on towards the bottom lane inhibitor turret. That's a big amount of damage coming out, but they've broken the next turret here. Bottom lane's going to fall. Legacy have 2 inhibitors. Now they're going to start to retreat.
Yeah, so they grab 2 inhibitors. That's a great play. Looks like now with the package, actually Frey wants in.
Teleport's going to come in here. Pac-Man wants to get this one going. Frey looking to try and dive in, but that's a lot of damage onto Raid. He's forced to heal off of that barrel, and immediately Abyss saying, nah, we're done. We're out of here. Let's go.
I'm sorry, Mr. Shoot, don't hurt me anymore. I mean, Tally is an absolute monster at the moment. That damage is, need I quote Atlas, disgusting. That was, yeah, that's a lot of damage. I don't know what else to say.
Didn't die, but he was almost super dead spawn. It's Pac-Man now is going to continue to just soak up as many minions as possible in this mid lane. Kuda's going to be helping him out, but it's just a matter of time before Legacy make their way towards the top side of the map and look to take down that final inhibitor turret.
And you know, this one's taken 36 minutes again for Legacy. They kind of lost their way, I feel like, a little bit in the mid game when they were trying to pressure Baron so much, even though they had mid inhibitor under fire. But this one's never really been in doubt. And you can see that, you know, Legacy from start to finish, willing to dominate. Sure, Lost got picked off a couple of times, but this is still a pretty clean victory. But Abyss have to just be thinking, like, if we can actually pull the trigger on some plays earlier, not in this set, I mean in general, we're going to stop falling into these big gold deficits, and then maybe we'll really see what this team is capable of.
Now though, it seems like they're still trying to hold on to this game, or whatever's left of it here. Legacy looks to try and make their final push in towards the base. Barrel's being put down over the wall by Tally as he continues to push in the mid lane with his super minions.
And I mean, Abyss should still be looking for what they can get out of this game, because realistically, if you take any game to 45 minutes, it just becomes a coin flip at that stage and up to composition. And Claire just took a lot of damage again.
Yep, Curtain Call's going to come out. Seb looking for the engage with Pac-Man, who flashes in for this one. Gets the knock up only on towards Cupcake. He gets obliterated. So does Seb here. And now Kuna's the one that's in trouble. Legacy get 3 kills off of the back of that counter engage.
Yeah, so in the end, they're able to kite back nicely. They're able to use that big gold advantage and do some work on the back line, and that will probably be game. Legacy, it took 38 minutes, but never really in doubt.
Certainly was not. Tally has to eat an orange to stay alive here, taking a lot of damage. Gets the heal coming out from Lost as well. But Legacy waltz in towards the base. Another barrel comes out. They won the ace, but they couldn't get it. But they still get all 3 points in the game, in the end, as they take down Abyss.
Yeah, exactly right. 2 rounds, 2 3-point victories. You can see Carbon getting around his team. Couple of rubs on the head. Not a big smile on his face. I mean, he would have liked that to be cleaner, I'm sure. Tally's checking out his damage. You saw that, you know, maybe not happy is with himself from that look that he just gave the camera. However, that wasn't clinical, wasn't surgical. It was just one-sided in the end. I mean, that was a pretty one-sided affair.
A little bit of a frown coming out from Carmen at the end of that one as well. It was still Legacy picking up all 3 points, but there were points in the game where Abyss definitely looked promising. It looked like they were going to be able to bounce back a little bit from their loss last week.
I tell you what, if they actually are able to pull the trigger on some of the team fights that they had when they're not 12,000 gold down, Abyss will be a good team fighting squad. I mean, they had the right idea. Flanks, flashing in, get onto the back line. It's just when you're doing it from a 12,000 gold deficit, it's going to be much more difficult than it should be.
Well, that was the 4th and final game of the day, but before we go, let's throw it back to the Analyst desk one more time.
Thanks very much, guys. Well, Abyss showing some late spirit there, despite going down 2-0 to Legacy, and no shame in going down to Legacy, because that was a monstrous performance there, Rusty.
Yeah, and I do want to echo Spawn as well. We saw even in their set against Sin, when Abyss actually make a team play, they structure themselves as a unit. They do look fantastic, but at this point in the game, honestly, Gangplank got a Flame Horizon in CS, had 3 Infernal Drakes. Like, there is absolutely nothing that Abyss could have done besides hit perfect team fights.
Yeah, and Mendrix will see the guys there doing the handshakes. But Legacy showing they could win through bot lane in the first game, then second game just win through Gangplank ultis all over the shop, right?
It was just a bit ridiculous. I mean, once Tally got going, he was really just sort of this force that could not be messed with. And throughout the entire game, it just sort of dictated every single objective that happened afterwards. Every single time Abyss thought they might have had some form of fun team fight or something that might work for them, those ultimates coming through from Gangplank just absolutely nullified them.
Yeah, all right. Well, let's take a look at the draft as you bring up the picks and bans on your screen. Still, Abyss really targeting out Carbon there, banning out the Ivan, banning out the Elise. I mean, like we said, though, Carbon isn't necessarily the biggest threat on that team, Rusty.
Yeah, he's not the biggest threat, and we heard from the coach as well, the reasoning is they want the Kazakhs, they want to get rid of the bad matchups, and I think this is more of it's a matter of priority in where Abyss want to win the game, not where they want to stop Legacy from winning the game themselves. So banning out the jungle gives Seb the opportunities and the abilities to be aggressive, go forward and try and win 1v1s, like what we saw from him in game 1, and that was actually one of the big tipping points that got Abyss an early lead in the first game, didn't exist in the second though, even with all of those bans.
Yeah, and Mendrix, we see in the Legacy picks, we've got carries all across the board. We've got Gangplank, we got the Misfortune. I mean, they're really giving themselves a lot of opportunities to win.
Oh, definitely. And one of the big things about it as well is it makes it hard with with having those carries to close out the game. We saw it actually happening there. But when you're just so confident with your plays, so making sure you jump in and get those answers every single time, it's able for Legacy to actually just outplay and play and win from there. And what I really like actually about the Gangplank pick that I want to point out there, every single time that Jin wanted to use his ultimate, he wasn't able to actually make it work. We saw it at the very end there. He popped his code and call, was ready to start hitting, and immediately just gets hit by a cannon barrage. And it's like, oh, wait, I need to get out of this right now.
Yeah, well, Tally had a monstrous game, so let's bring up some stats so we can see how much damage he was able to do. What's that? 8 kills, 1 death, 6 assists. That's a lot of gold. Like we're saying, he was basically Legacy's entire gold lead for the last third of that game.
Yeah, he was majority of Legacy's strengths. And I mean, there's only really one thing I can say here, and it's to quote one of the best Gangplank players that we all know. Get shit on.
That's the last time you're on the desk. That's the last time you're on the desk, Rusty. No swearing. Let's look at
Well, I
look.
mean, it was just crazy, though. The amount that he was able to do. He had a Trinity Force at 12 minutes. He had 200 CS at 18 minutes. So he was ahead of the clock the entire time.
Well, let's go to the early game now because that Tally Gangplank play, there's an ult in the top bush I want to see because it results in a double kill. Let's bring that up, shall we?
Yeah, so this is one of the more impressive things. Firstly, Pac-Man's baiting, and he actually uses the ultimate expecting Tally to flash auto to last hit, but by just using the ultimate, getting the Thunderlord's proc off, Tally's able to outplay in a 1v2, where Abyss overexerted themselves in an attempt to bait to bring Seb in. Tally just did more damage before they could react.
And
And
it's
it's
really just knowing the limitations of those champions. He was basically fearless. Most Gangplanks would be like, oh, what? I need to watch out. I need to be careful. I need to use that flash. And Tyler's like, no, I can probably still get this kill. Oh, would you look at that? And, here comes Kha'Zix. No, that's fine. I can kill him as well.
And for people who don't play a lot of Gangplank, I mean, you think of that ulti as just doing damage, but actually in that you saw it was being used to zone out people as well because you can't go through that damage zone. Let's look at that second replay then. It's a Baron fight. There's a double kill in there. And yeah, Mendrix, why don't you take us through this one?
Okay, so here Legacy is sort of continuing their dominance throughout the entire game. They play this really well in terms of just getting to the Baron, but look at Claire. He's completely nowhere near the team fight, and Seb is just able to isolate and kill him. And I think the reason behind that is they thought Seb was actually going to jump into there and actually try to go for the steal, but in the end he decides to go for the kill, and that just allows the rest of Abyss to collapse, and they do a great job doing the chase and getting the kills afterwards.
And they're 11k ahead at this point in the game. Legacy had the free Baron again, similar to game 1. They don't have to just do the Baron. They can
Yeah.
look for a fight. But small mistakes such as Claire expecting Seb to go in when Seb's going for him can change the pace of a fight.
Well, standing by with Spawn right now is Claire, so let's throw it over to Spawn to see the interview.
You guys really got to give the guy a break. I mean, he does pick up another 3-point victory, of course. I am Spawn standing alongside Legacy mid laner Claire. New team joining Legacy. I've been hearing for a while, after Immunity, you went missing from the Oceanic professional scene. What's it like to be back? What's it like to be playing with Carbon and the boys?
I was really excited to come back and play on like a top 3 team, right? So I think it's been a really good experience. It's a lot different from when I was playing amateur in Japan, and I actually really enjoy it.
All right, cool. And, you're playing with Tally, you're playing with Carbon, you're arguably the strongest top half of the map. However, in game 1 today, the young kids on the block, Lost and Cupcake stepped up. How good is this bottom lane?
I actually think the top 2 bottom lane, we've tested them against the Chiefs bottom lane, who I think is also like a contender for top 1 bot lane. So, I don't know. At times they play really well and they outperform them, and other times not so much, but I think they're definitely top 2.
Yeah, I think they're a really good bottom lane as well. You talked about the Chiefs again. This is the second interview I've done with Legacy members. I know that you were close with the Chiefs squad in the past. What is it with Legacy and Chiefs getting on at the moment? You're obviously good friends with Swiffer. What's going on there? Where's the rivalry?
Yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe we're kind of scared of Direwolves, maybe? That could be a good reason. We see them with the new sponsor, the new lineup, Shonefire, so we're kind of getting along. And I think it's also good that the top teams in the region kind of get together and make each other stronger, because historically Chiefs and Legacy, they don't really play against each other much, so it's not as good when the top teams aren't playing against each other. So when it goes international, we don't have we're not at our ceiling, I guess.
I completely agree. I've been trying to say that for so many years now. Thank you for backing me up with that. I've been excited for you for years. Pastry Time's a huge fan. I know Rusty is on the desk as well. I'm a huge fan of you. As far as the OPL mid laners go, there's still you, Perfection, Fantic, Swiffer, now Frey's stepping up into there. Are you still the best mid laner in OS? How are you feeling that you've come back into the lineup?
I wouldn't say I'm the best. I think I'm up there, but I have a lot of consistency issues, I guess, because I'm really disappointed in my last 2 weeks of OPLs, so I'm going to go home and work hard. I don't know, we'll see. Maybe I can get up there, but maybe I'm just washed up because I've been playing for 6 years now.
I don't think you're washed up. And I keep asking everyone, but, let's take it back to a whole. Legacy as a whole. Tally told me you were top 3 last week. You're now sitting top of the ladder by yourself. Surely this is the time that Legacy can peak out, get that first place.
It's really hard to say, because Direwolves and Chiefs played each other in the first week, so we don't know how good they are compared to us yet. In scrims, it goes either way, so we're not sure.
What did you make of that Direwolves Chiefs game? Because I know Carbon was on the desk. He said it was the best game he ever saw played domestically. What were your thoughts on it?
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I thought both teams were playing really messy. We played against both teams in scrims before, and usually they're a lot cleaner. So that was the first game of the season, so it's understandable that it was really messy, but yeah, I think they can play a lot better on stage than that. That's why I'm still like, I wouldn't say straight away that we're like a top 1 team or anything.
All right, cool. Well, thank you so much for the interview. Congratulations on your win and your
Thank
couple
you.
of 2-0s. However, that is all from us here at the caster station. We'll throw you back to the analyst desk to close out the night.
There we are, Spawn with a washed-up Claire, frankly. 2 games in to split one of us.
Self-proclaimed.
Self-claimed washed up. He's come back in. OPL. Spent, look, a year in Japan. That's what's going to do it to you. It's going to wash you up, right?
Mind games. He's saying that to everyone now, and then next week he's just going to absolutely blow us all out of the water.
I mean, in all seriousness, it's great to hear from Claire as well, because he said it himself, 6 years he's been around, but he hasn't actually competed in the OPL. This is the first time we've seen him. So fantastic to see him firstly performing, and maybe he's not being honest enough to himself, because he is a top mid.
Absolutely, and maybe consistency issues will come with more confidence. Who knows, right? I'm not a personal coach. I wouldn't know. All right, let's take a look at the Radio Medal for best player of this series, and it goes to Lost after that massive game in Game 1 on Jin with all of those Jin ultis popping off, getting kills. Mendrix, very deserving.
Oh, definitely very deserving. And it's not just even Game 1. I mean, if you looked at him in Game 2 as well, yes, he didn't exactly have the most amount of kills coming through that game. He had the most amount of assists. All those arrows just seemed to be hitting every single time. It was fantastic to watch.
Yeah, I mean, caught out of position a couple of times, but an end result is strong mechanical performance from Lost, and that's all you can really expect to see from him, and it only gets better from here.
Yeah, so we get to so we get to Legacy now on top of the table with 2 3-point victories with that bonus point. And I want to take an opportunity to plug a podcast which we've just released. It's hosted by myself and Jake Spawn Tiberi. We're going to release it on Fridays. We're going to be going through all the games we saw last week and previewing games coming up, as well as just mouthing off about various things. So if you want to find that, it's on SoundCloud. It's probably on iTunes. You can find it via the os.lollysports website. And let's take a look at the schedule for tomorrow, shall we? As we bring that up on your screen. Tomorrow's games include Exile 5, still looking for that first win with the Die Wolves. So that will be our first match. Our second match is our match of the week. It is Tainted Minds versus Chiefs, that top of the table clash. I mean, Rusty, you're going to be here tomorrow, but do you want to let us in on your picks? What was your pick of that final match, Tainted Minds versus Chiefs?
I mean, it's a really hard one
It's a
to pick,
coin
right?
flip, right?
Yeah, but I've gone for Chiefs, I believe, in that one. I actually put them 2-0, and it's not because I think it will be clean by any means. I just think they'll manage to find the first 2 wins.
Oh, a very strong prediction there by Rusty. All right, that is enough from us here. Thank you very much for joining us, and we'll be back tomorrow, so we'll see you then.
Tally wants it, puts the ultimate down to pick up first blood. Now Seb's trying to go toe-to-toe, but can he do it? He eats an orange, and Tally is K's. He gets the double kill.
Yeah, looking for a pick. They throw an arrow.
Oh, wow, hits Raid square in the face. The arrow to the knee's going to come out. Karma's going to get right behind him. You've got nowhere to run, Cowboy, because Lisa is here to kick you straight in the face, and that's going to be a pickup for Claire. Make it Rain's going to come out from Misfortune. Karma's incredibly low, but will still get the smite down. Tally now low as well. Seb already got 1 kill. The rest of Legacy's been locked up. Big ultimate coming out from Kunin, and now Raid's looking to try and clean this one up. Seb's in the backline, tries to jump, but he can't get it down. A double flash over the wall from the carries, but Tally, my goodness, the double kill's going to come out. Raid's going to try to go toe-to-toe. Can he get it? Yes, he can with the shutdown. And Abyss somehow come back into this game. Arrow's going to come out, lands on top of Seb. Kunin's going to get locked down, and Cupcake gets the double kill with the bullet time. Pac-Man's going to fall next as well. Guardian Angel's being popped. Legacy going to be able to take him down. Loss is going to take that kill. Seb looking for the engagement. Pac-Man, who flashes in for this one, gets the knock up only on towards Cupcake. He gets obliterated. So does Seb here. And now Kunin's the one that's in trouble. Legacy get 3 kills off of the back of that counter engage.